Sounds good, Peter. Peter Lee?
I think he's in his room, isn't he?
Now would be a good time for everybody to mute their sound.
Call from Catherine P. Mack.
All right, it's 5:30. We're going to go ahead and get started with our class/chat/review of last night's hands. A couple of housekeeping items to start with. First of all, congrats to the Stemkovskys, Vladimir and Tatiana. They won the RBC game last night with an impressive 67%. I know personally they cleaned our clocks the three boards we played them. A reminder that this is going to go on for about an hour. Afterwards, Chris Mull has a triangle bridge game at 7 o'clock over in virtual bridge clubs. Please try to support that. Find a partner and support that if you can. Tomorrow night, the RBC has 2 different games. There's a non-life master game and an open game. Once again, those will be at 7 o'clock. Next week is going to be Silver Point week on BBO. And I'm told that the awards will be 3 times what they normally would be for these games. And everything's in silver. The only thing we're doing to accommodate that is paying an extra $1. So, if you need silver points, this is one of the best opportunities you're ever going to get to collect several of them at one time. And the games next week again will be same deal. Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Thursday night there will be a limited game and an open game running concurrently. I also want to mention that RBC has a mentor-mentee game on Sunday, May 31st. So that's going to be 18 boards. We're going to give 8 minutes a board instead of 7 minutes to give people a little bit more time to think through the hands. I believe those are also being counted on the Silver Point week. So again, a great chance to play with your mentor, mentee, and get some silver points. And that's all I've got for the admin stuff. Vladimir says in the chat, tomorrow night they're actually going to play a 0 to 100 non-life master game. So trying to get some people in for that. So that's all the housekeeping. We're going to go into our class topics for tonight, which are, there were about 3 hands that people had frequent questions about from last night's game. We'll review those. What we're going to get into first is what I promised in the email prior to the game happening last night, which was a couple of card play themes. I have one defensive theme for you, which is don't overruff with your natural trump tricks, especially. It's something I've talked about before in a Tuesday night pregame, but here we have the added benefit of actually having a screen share, and we can click through the cards, probably make it a little bit easier to illustrate the point. The offensive card play theme I have for you is simple squeezes. I've got 2 of those to talk to you about tonight. One thing that didn't necessarily come up from last night's game, but has happened a couple of times lately that I wanted to talk about is what doubles of their 1 no trump overcall should mean. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then in the second half of the show, we'll get to the hands from last night where people had some bidding questions. There were a couple of interesting points to talk about, I feel like. So the screen I've shared with you here is a don't overruff declare theme hand on defense. The auction's not super important, but let's just say it went
Okay, well, maybe right now
Pass
I'm like
3 hearts.
little funk type thing. At least that's what I feel like I'm in. So
Okay, so let's say it went past 3 hearts.
mhm.
West has a pretty good hand here, but really nothing to do. They don't have enough to double. You might hear 4 diamonds. Your partner's a passed hand, so that's a little bit should put you at ease a little bit because the chance that you're missing something go down, and it's just not enough to overcall 3 no trump. If you had something like the same shape with a few more high cards, maybe the singleton ace of diamonds, perhaps this would be the type of hand that you might shoot out a 3 no overcall on, but certainly not enough to get involved here, and we're just going to play 3 hearts. West makes the totally normal lead of
Yeah, I'm still here.
the 6 of diamonds, and I'll go ahead and do show double dummy here. So you'll notice that any spade lead or the diamond singleton are supposed to lead to down 1. And the diamond singleton is the natural looking lead here anyway. And you'll see as it rotates around the table looking at the hands as they play to the trick, right now East has a red 1 by the ace of diamonds. That means if she plays the ace of diamonds right now and continues in the best way possible, seeing all the cards, the end result is going to be down 1. Her other 4 legal plays, which are the 4 small diamonds, lead to, there's a green equal sign, which means the contract would make if everyone played optimally. So East wins the ace of diamonds. And it certainly looks like partner's looking for a ruff here. So we're going to return a diamond. One thing you can do with your diamond spots here, like certainly if we return a diamond, we're never getting any more diamond tricks. So as far as taking tricks goes, it doesn't matter if we return the 10 or the 5 or the 3 or the 2. But if we anticipate what's probably going to happen here, and by the way, the 6 of diamonds at this point is a known singleton, right? The king is the only card we're missing. And if partner had king 6, she would have led the king, okay? And there's really not a thing that Declare could do about this. She could try and false card with the king at trick 1, but the 9 is still the missing card, and partner would have led the 9 from 9-6. So at this point, East knows that she's giving her partner a diamond ruff. And what we're going to do is use the size of the diamond to indicate what we want partner to do next. So we can kind of predict what's going to happen here. We're going to give partner a ruff. She's going to be real happy. And then after a few seconds, there's going to be some panic that sets in. That roughing diamond thing felt good. How can I do it again? All right. And it would help if you and your partner had the agreement that a low diamond here means, partner, I want you to try the lower of the 2 side suits as the way to get me in. Okay. If partner had not returned the 2 of diamonds here, certainly West would think, okay, she doesn't have a high club. So West continues with the original intent, which was to get a diamond ruff. And once again, if we go back 1 trick here, you'll see that the 9 of hearts has a red 1. All the other cards have equal signs with them. So we got to play the 9 of hearts here to beat the contract, which is what we do anyway. This next play is going to take a little bit of trust. You've got to realize at this point that your partner had the choice of the 10, 5, 3, and 2 of diamonds. And if she's thinking the 2 has to be, partner, it's safe to lead over to my king of clubs. Okay, and also, if Declare's opened 3 hearts and she's already shown up with the king of diamonds, it's pretty unlikely, just from a vacuum odds perspective, that Declare has the king of clubs. But your partner has also gone out of her way to show you can get to me with a high club. And the 2 of diamonds is something that would be consistent with her either holding the king or the ace, one of the 2 high clubs. Here you don't have any ambiguity because you're sitting there looking at the ace of clubs. The double dummy tells you, though, if you cash the ace of clubs at this point, like try to lead the ace of clubs and then go to partner's king, you're going to ruin the whole hand because we need partner in 1 more time, and Declare only has the singleton club. Okay, so we're going to play one of the cards that has the red 1 by it, and that all of them are non-ace of clubs. And partner plays another diamond. And you'll see that all of South's cards here have a red 1 by them. At this point, Declare is cooked as long as you follow this principle, which is, say Declare roughs with the king of hearts here. Notice that the only cards that lead to Declare making the contract at this point are your trumps, including the ace of hearts. And if you're honest with yourself, I think you would say, hey, you know what? I see a trick that I can win. I'm going to win a trick here. But you've got to realize that you give up your positional advantage if you win the ace of hearts here. Because what's going to happen is Declare gets in next and pulls your jack with the queen, right? Okay, whereas if you just lay off, you can play any old black card you want. I mean, you can play the ace of clubs. It's literally down 1 because the last 2 tricks you have are the ace jack of hearts. Let's do it the wrong way for a second. Here's the wrong way. And it's probably the instinctive way, to be honest. And you can see, like, if West leads the ace of clubs now, Declare wins, pulls the trump. Doesn't even need to take the spade hook at that point, but if she needs to take the spade finesse, that's working also. But anything that West does at this point, Declare is going to be able to pull the jack with the queen. Whereas if we do it the right way, you know, and we can show off here. We pitch the ace of clubs. You always have to come to the ace jack of hearts at this point, because essentially what's happened is you've end played Declare. You forced her to play that suit first while you still have the tennis over it, and it leads to, you know, down 1. Okay, so that's the don't overruff the dummy theme. And again, like if you roughed with the ace of hearts here, it kind of looks clear in retrospect, like, oh, of course I shouldn't rough that. but there are less obvious situations, where you have good spot cards and you can build up tricks with over tricks. I guess the most general theme would be anytime you've got natural trump tricks, consider not overruffing. It's usually right. Okay? I don't see any questions on that, so we're going to move on to our second theme hand, which this time is from an offensive perspective, and it's a squeeze. I promised you a simple squeeze hand tonight. I've actually got 2 of them for you. Again, let's not get too caught up in the bidding. It's not the point. There is some bidding to talk about when we get to the RBC hands for tonight, but I'm just going to kind of make up something here that ends up with South playing 4 spades. Okay, so I got a reasonable-ish auction. Let's talk about one aspect of this auction, this 2-diamond bid here by South. And actually, I guess South technically should have alerted it. We talked about that. Like when you're making a bid, if it's alertable, you click the alert button first, then you type in, like for the 2-diamond bid, South would have clicked something like artificial, game forcing, and then, then they would click the 2 diamonds. Anyway, we've gotten to 4 spades here. I just want to talk about the 2-diamond bid quickly. That's a convenient way. It's called 4th suit forcing. It's a convenient way to tell partner, hey, this bust doesn't stop below 3 no trump. We're going to game somewhere. And in this instance, what South is kind of hoping happens is that North might be able to cooperate with a spade slam. Okay, the hand is actually too good to just up and bid 4 spades at some point in the auction. So what South was hoping to do here by bidding the 4 suit forcing and then bidding spades and continuing bidding spades is show slam interest in spades. Anyway, not the point of the squeeze. You can get a really nice board here by just taking your 13 tricks in 4 spades. And I say 13 because, maybe having heard this auction, West gets the idea, well, I'm not going to lead spades, I'm not going to lead hearts, I'm not going to lead clubs. Per force, I don't love leading from this diamond suit, but maybe we just, take a look at the dummy by leading the ace of diamonds. So let's turn our double dummy thing on here. The ace of diamonds has a red 3 by it, which is unfortunate for the defense. It means that if Declare plays well, she's going to be able to take 3 over tricks, i.e. all 13. We're going to go ahead and rough that. We're lucky on this opening lead because the defense has set up the king of diamonds for an extra trick for us. And it's really never too early to start counting tricks. Every single hand you play, I want you to count your tricks. You count winners all the time. Sometimes it's appropriate to count losers at a suit contract, but I actually find that focusing on counting your winners is usually easier for me than worrying about counting losers. Like if you force me to just count one thing, I'd focus on winners, not on losers. So let's talk about winners here. We have 8 spades and the dummy has 1. Barring a 4-0 break, we're going to score all 8 of our spade tricks. The defense was nice enough or unlucky enough to set up a diamond for us, which is 9. And we have the ace, king, queen of clubs, which is 12. Okay. When we're in the dummy, we want to play the king of diamonds at some point. There are 13 tricks in a hand, and we have 12 of them accounted for. Anytime that's the situation where there are X number of tricks left, and you have X minus 1 of them, it's probably a good idea to run your long suit and just see what happens. And you're kind of just going to fall into this squeeze. But if you sort of think about what might need to be going on, is 13 tricks will happen a couple of different ways. First of all, clubs could be 3-3. If clubs are 3-3, you're going to take 13 tricks, right? You're just going to pitch 1 heart on the king of diamonds and then 1 heart on the 13th club. The other legitimate way we could make 13 tricks here And remember, we've got 12. We might as well play for 13. Don't be lazy and throw it in and concede a heart. Okay, there's legit ways to make 13 tricks here. The other way would be if we caught somebody with both the ace of hearts and what's known as the club guard. Guard means he guards the fourth club in the dummy. And if you look at the east-west layout here, west is the person with the club guard because he has 4 clubs. You know, and we talk about keeping parity with the dummy. That's why, because you have the suit guarded. Okay, so west has the club guard here. They also have the ace of hearts, which means they're going to be mincemeat if we play this right. Okay, so let's just play it out here, and I'm going to show you what happens in the end game. And again, like, if you want to understand what's going on, that's what's going on. West is too busy. West has too much stuff to keep track of. He has to keep both the ace of hearts and the clubs. But if you like couldn't care less about that, just run your long suit. A lot of times you'll fall into it. Okay, so we're going to play a trump to the dummy. We're going to make sure that both opponents follow here. Okay, and when they do, that's great. We know there are 2 left, and we know that the suit is running. We don't have any losers in spades. Quick tip about how to count your trump suit. Rather than trying to count up to 13, count down from the number you are originally missing. So here we had 8 in our hand, 1 in the dummy. That leaves 4 to get to 13. And every time I drew a round, I would count down from 4 to 2. If they both follow on the next round, I'm going to count down to 0, and I'm done with it. That's easier than, well, let's see, did I rough something at some point? All 4 of us followed. 4 plus 1 maybe is 5. How many did I start, right? It's harder to count up to 13 than to count down from 4, in my opinion. While we're out here, we're going to cash the king of diamonds. And, you know, we could even get fancy here. And again, like you'll notice that both the king and the 4 of hearts have 3s by them. We can mess around and even throw the king of hearts here. Okay, we need a way to our hand to draw the trump. And now we're just going to run every single trump from our hand. And the defense can throw diamonds for now. We can throw hearts. Well, East can't throw diamonds yet. And I want to show you the 4-card end position we get to. Okay, so we've reached actually we'll get rid of one more club here to make the point crystal clear. We've reached the moment of truth here, and this is where some people will fall from grace even after they've, you know, followed the correct principles of almost running their long suit. What's going to happen here the first time you play something like this and realize that something cool might be going on is you're gonna get nervous and not play that last trump. It's going to feel like Linus' security blanket to you. Okay, and you can notice with our double dummy tool here that the only thing left in your hand that has a green 3 by it is the 6 of spades. Okay, so the problem is, like, if we lead the 4 of hearts right now, they take a trick. But if we lead a club right now, say, it's no good, right? Again, we can't lead the jack of hearts off the dummy. And if we lead the 6 of clubs, we got a trumpet, and we still have the 4 of hearts to lose to the ace. So that's no good. Let's rewind a trick. What you absolutely must do for this to operate is to play your last trump. You have to get it on the table. If this were a no trump hand, I mean, here technically we have a trump suit, but it's been reduced to a no trump position. Either way, you've got to play that last card from your long suit. And at this point, West has no answer, right? If they throw the ace of hearts, it's obviously lights out. We pitch the club from the dummy and the dummy's up. So they might reason, well, let's try the club. And all that happens here is you pitch the thing. What the jack of hearts and the dummy was called, technically, is a threat. It was exerting pressure on West. So he gets rid of one of his guards, and we just pitch the opposite threat. So here we pitch the heart, and we lead the 2 of clubs, jack, ace, and the 6 is good. Okay. And in fact, in a super strong game here, like with 4 tricks left, when declares running out their trumps, West might just, laugh and pitch the ace of hearts and say, well done. You can see this one coming. Okay. So that's a squeeze. We're going to do one other thing, and then we'll come back to one more squeeze hand. Okay, I don't see any questions on this, so I'm moving on. Let's talk about one no trump, doubles of one no trump overcalls. This hand is actually from a morning game this week, and it kind of shocked me, so I thought it was worth bringing up today. West deals and has a very blah, nondescript 13 count, but you just open this hand. Even though there's not a whole lot to recommend to it, I'll spare you the open everything that moves speech. You know that I'm for opening the bidding. And even Charles Gorin opens this, right? He just counts 4, 3, 2, 1, comes to 13, opens a club. With 3, 3 in the minors, you're opening a club generally. And North has 9, 13, 17 with a balanced hand and a club stopper. And there's a pretty good way to describe this. It's with a one no trump overcall. And this says, partner, I have 15 to 18. I have club stopped. I have something resembling a balanced hand. And this is not one of my favorite bids in bridge. I think this one no trump overcall, particularly when the person on your left has not bid yet, i.e. they could still have a good hand, is one of the more dangerous calls in bridge. That's not saying that I don't know really a better way to do it, but I think this situation is kind of quietly one of the spots that's you are definitely putting your head on a chopping block if the person behind you wakes up with a real hand. And that's the situation here. East has got 10 points. They've got a good 5-card suit. They don't have a lot of shape as far as majors go. And if you just do the math, you have 10. Let's say you're playing with an ultra aggressive partner and they open 11 and 12 counts. That already gives you a majority of the deck. That already gives you 21 points minimum. And the person on your right says she has 15 to 18. And honestly, you probably shouldn't be doing this on all 15s. Like you probably shouldn't be doing it on crummy 15s. If you wanted to go back to like old style 16 to 18 no trumps in the overcalling position, I think that might not be such a bad idea. This one no trump overcall is fraught with danger. And like I say, I'm not sure of a better way to do it, but it just seems like it's underreported how much stickiness this can get you in. Anyway, East needs a way to say, look, they can't make this. And if you think about it from North's perspective, if you predict what this hand is going to look like, we've already we have 21 points minimum. The person on my right has 16 or 17 or 18. That leaves the dummy with like a queen. Do you remember the last time you played 15 to 17 balanced opposite a queen? It probably didn't go well. You probably didn't make it. And if they're probably not making one no trump, and there's certainly no assurance that we have any sort of game bonus here, right? Like I suppose we could be making 4 spades if partner's got some shape, but why worry about going after that when we could double them, get a 1-trick set, and get 200 points? So you ought to play that double here is penalty. It's a penalty of a 1-level contract. It's a penalty of 1 no trump. There's no need to go after your own contract here. Let's just beat them in 1 no. It's not negative. It's not takeout. It's not responsive. It's you're going down, dude. So East doubles. And kind of an extra point here is, there were 8 tables in this game yesterday. The auction started 1 club, 1 no trump at all 8. This was not a non-life master game. 6 of the 8 Easts bid 2 diamonds with this hand. So the most important thing we can talk about here is that we need double to be penalty. And we need to be making a penalty double with this hand rather than bidding 2 diamonds. The second point, and I don't want to get too bogged down in this again, is that North-South should have some sort of agreement about how to run from 1 no trump doubled. And one agreement might be that you play don't here. You pass if you've got a totally balanced hand, and if you have two suits that you might want to run to, you bid the lower of the two. Okay, so here South, everyone at the table realizes that South has a crummy hand. So if they bid, it's just to try and run. Okay, yeah, I'll get to the question in a second. It's just to try and run to maybe we've got a 4-4 fit here. So if South were to have this agreement and bid, say, two clubs with the understanding I have clubs and another suit, North-South can potentially get to two clubs or two hearts, which East-West ought to penalty double also. And if North-South plays the cards right in two hearts, they can actually make this. And East-West is going to have to defend well. I mean, it's not like it's all that tough. East-West is going to have to be careful to beat two clubs if they play that. It's certainly much easier to beat one no trump than it is to beat two clubs or two hearts. Anyway, that's a side point that as the one no trump overcalling side, when you play in games where they can figure out that double should be penalty, you probably want a way to run from it. Like, we don't need Stamen anymore, right? And if we have something like hearts or spades, we can just redouble to show a long suit. Then we get to two hearts, whatever. You don't need systems on in this situation. There's a question in the chat at this point that says, how does partner know it's a penalty double? Hopefully partner was listening to me talk for the last 5 minutes. I don't know. It just is. That's the most useful meaning for double in this situation. Okay, like if they ever call a suit, a diamond, a heart, or a spade, double is negative. Okay, because we really don't need that double. Its most frequent use isn't, hey, I can beat this at the one level. When they ever call one no trump, it's very likely that we can beat it when we wake up with a hand like this, and we need to put that double to its most frequent times useful usage, which is, partner, I don't think they can make this. Okay, and it also kind of doesn't make sense as takeout if you think of North having a balanced hand, right? And you haven't raised clubs. What we don't need it to be takeout. So that's penalty doubles of one no trump. One other thing on this is, if I'm suggesting that you double with this hand rather than bidding two diamonds, what does two diamonds mean? And the answer is, it's certainly not a 2/1 anymore. It is a non-forcing bid. It is, partner, I want to play two diamonds. It's something like a weak two in diamonds. King, Jack, 10, 6 the diamonds, and not much else. Okay, it's just, I want to play two diamonds. Anything that you bid here is this is what I want to play. And when you have good balanced hands, you start with a double to say, partner, I don't think they can make one no trump. Maybe too close. Okay, yeah. It's not important exactly what you play, but realize that as South here, you are going to want some way to escape one no trump doubled to what is probably a lighter landing spot. That's my only point here. Okay. Let's go to another squeeze hand. Oh, by the way, just to convince you, like, let's say that North-South hasn't figured out that they maybe should run here. And in fact, the two times that South did double, they defended one no trump doubled. So let's say it goes all pass here. And again, we're going to look at our double dummy. Everything but the low diamonds beats the contract. And in fact, the spade leads or a big diamond will beat it 3. Just if you need any more assurance that they are not making one no trump here. Right? If we can get our partner to lead diamonds for us, and if we can get the spades started, we're going to get 3 spades, the ace of hearts, and 5 diamonds. That's us making 3 no trump. That's them going down 3. And really, if you get 200 on this deal, you're already signed up for probably a pretty good score. All right, moving on. Let's do one more squeeze hand, and we're kind of at the halfway point here time-wise. That's great. And we'll talk about some of the hands from last night. Again, we're not worried too much about the bidding, but I think this one's pretty straightforward. South opens 2 spades, pass, 4 spades. And let's say that they lead a heart. Remember that as East here, your correct play is you want to play third hand high, but it's lowest of equal highs. So East conventionally here should play the King of Hearts. And let's just say they return a trump. If they returned a heart, this would all kind of reduce to the same position, but let's say they returned a trump at this point. And anything but a club return will let me make my point. So that's all I'm interested in. It's time to start counting tricks. When we're playing a trump contract, we're going to count our tricks from the hand with more trumps, generally speaking. So at this point, you know, we have 11 trumps, including the top 2 trumps. There's no problem in the trump suit. So I'm going to give myself credit for 6 spade tricks. I can use dummies trumps to ruff 2 of my hearts. So I'm up to 8. And I have the ace, king, queen of diamonds. That's 11. They already have 1 in the bank. The recipe is primed, okay? All the tricks but 1 are accounted for. So all I have to do here is make sure I ruff my 2, pull the trump, make sure I ruff my 2 hearts, and then run my winners. And I can either appreciate that what I need is some miracle lie in the diamond suit, like the Jack 10 falling either doubleton or tripleton, or I can have somebody who holds the diamond guard also holding on to the ace of clubs. And surprise, surprise, you'll notice that West has both those things. So the squeeze is going to operate on him here. So let's play it out. Trumps break 1-1. That's great. And you can already kind of see the roof caving in for West here. But we must play all our trumps. We can go ahead and get rid of the King of Diamonds. I guess that's confusing things. And now you'll notice that the only things that lead to making 2 over tricks are all the trump cards, and we have to play every single one of them. West can't get rid of a diamond, because the second he gets rid of a diamond, that 9 in the dummy grows up. So he has to pitch his clubs. And we keep the 3 diamonds in the dummy because those are our threat. Okay, the 3rd diamond in the dummy and the king of clubs in the dummy are what's exerting pressure on our opponent. And one more, and he has 1 more card that he can part with without feeling the pain. Okay, so we've reached that critical juncture, the part where you got to get rid of your security blanket. The part where the only card in your hand that has a green 2 by it is the trump. And let's see what happens when we play it. It's lights out. Okay. And kind of to give you a primer on how to claim, if you're West at this point, you can actually just, this is kind of the stylish, I don't know. Yeah, the stylish thing to do, I suppose, is you can just concede the rest of the tricks. You hit your claim button, which is down here in the bottom left. How many more tricks do I claim? 0 in the explain line here, which is what you would do if there were any ambiguity as to what the tricks were that you were claiming. You would type something like, well done, sir, and you would hit concede. Okay, and then, they would have to, I guess I actually did that from the offensive perspective, but that's how you make a claim, either on defense or on offense. Hit the claim button. We'll do 1 more of them when we go through the hands here. But there was a question on that. And that's something that can really save time. I mean, there are hands, we'll see one of them in a second, where there's nothing to it. At trick 3 or 4, if you play out the hand, it's what I call clicking practice. It's just playing winners. We have 21 minutes for 3 boards. And a lot of times if you claim on board 1, people are like, well, you know, why are we in such a rush? We've got these 21 minutes. The thing is, you never know when you might run into a problem on the 2nd and 3rd boards, when just randomly they happen to be very tough boards to play. And if you claim on board 1 when it's obvious, you're going to give yourself that extra time on boards 2 and 3 if they happen to be tough. Or the worst thing that happens is you finish the round with 7 minutes left, and guess what? You have time to go to the bathroom or to get something from the kitchen or whatever. Basically, nothing bad can happen from claiming. And 99 times out of 100, no one's trying to pull a fast one on you, even if the claim isn't valid. They're trying to save time, and it's actually the sporting thing to do. Okay? In the chat, I say, how much explanation do you need to give when claiming? I'll do an example of that in a minute. Sometimes it's just completely obvious, and I guess it would be polite to spell out, like I have, you know, there's 8 tricks left. I have 6 spades, the ace of hearts, and the ace of diamonds. You know, if there's any outstanding trump, you want to say, I'm pulling trump first, then I have 6 spades, the ace of hearts, and the ace of diamonds. And depending on the level of your competition, like, you know, you never want to try and like intimidate somebody with this, but at the same time, you're balancing that really this is a timed event, and we need to be saving time in situations where we can. All right, so let's move on to 3 of the hands from last night that had questions from the audience. So we'll go over here to the right side of my board and click on my pretty 47% game from last night. Board 7 was the first one I wanted to go over. We just export that to the larger screen, upload deal to table. Yep, Vladimir covered that one. The opponents do get to see your cards. And that's true in real life too. You are always entitled to look at what the declarer is showing you. Okay. All right. This one went pass, and West has a very normal 2-no trump call. We are not in the least worried about the fact that we don't have a heart stopper. We are just describing that we have a balanced hand with 20 to 21 high card points. We can't, you know, if you open this hand a diamond, reasoning that you're worried about opening no trump because of the unstopped heart suit, there's no recovering. There's no rebid you can make now that describes your hand. So we've kind of just got to take it a little bit on faith that usually one of a couple of things is going to happen. Either partner provides a heart stopper, or the opponents don't lead hearts, or, you know, there's 3 small hearts in the dummy, and the opponent's hearts break 4-3, and all they can take is 4 heart tricks. Long and short of it is, when you have a balanced hand and you have 20 to 21 points, you open 2 no trump, and not anywhere in that flow chart is, oh my gosh, do I have all 4 suits stopped? We're not worried about that. The times we worry about bidding no trump and having suits stopped is when the opponents have, say, opened the bidding a heart. Now, if you overcall 1 no trump, you should certainly have heart stopped. That would be a time to worry about having heart stopped. Yep. Yeah, I see him. We'll get back to the claiming stuff in a second. There's a hand where we claim. In fact, this is the one. So it goes 2 no trump pass. And if you're East here, you ought to be thinking a couple of things. Like, first of all, we certainly have a game. Second of all, we might have 6 clubs. Third of all, we might just bid 5 clubs. And I'm here to tell you that what we'd ideally like is a way to get partners' input about whether he likes his hand for 6 clubs, say. So if there's a way to do that, let's put that at the top of the list. And let's ignore that for just a second and say, you know what, this is the first time I've played with this partner. I'm not real sure of our methods here, and I'm just going to bid something and set the final contract here. The first thing I would throw out is 5 clubs. Okay, if you bid 5 clubs here, call back to last episode where I talked about the word safe being a funny word. Like, for sure, 5 clubs here is probably the most likely contract to make. But also, it's the contract that is sure to giving you a score of about 15% on the board. 5 clubs does make 6. If we go to the other results, let's see what 620 would have scored on this board. 620 down here is literally 15.6%. Okay, and it's entirely predictable that if you bid 5 clubs here, you're going to score about 15% of the match points. Because what's going to happen is you're going to lose to the people that bid 6 clubs, assuming you're making an over trick. You're going to lose to the people that are bidding 3 no trump almost surely. Like sometimes 5 clubs is going to make when 3 no doesn't, but that's not what we're worried about at match points. We're not worried about getting the surest game bonus. We're worried about, having 690 instead of 620, 660 instead of 600. That's our main concern here, not making sure that the first number of our score is a 6. Okay, so if you had to set the contract right now, I have about equal admiration for just bidding 3 no trump or just blasting. What's called blasting is like when you don't investigate a contract scientifically, you just sort of blast what you think might be right. So I have some respect for just blasting 6 clubs. I suppose I have some respect for bidding 4 no quantitative and then getting partners input. Any of those things seem kind of reasonable. But the one club we definitely want to take out of our bag here is the impulse to just bid 5 clubs. Okay, that is signing on the dotted line for a safe 15%. And that's not what you want to do. That's not the way to win match points. So let's revisit the idea of maybe there's a way to get partners' input on this. And I don't want to get bogged down in this again, but let's talk about what that way might be. Most people would play that, most experts, I guess, would play the 3 spades here, and we can alert this. Just ask partner to bid 3 no, and you might do some fancy stuff on the backside. So here's one idea. And we don't need 3 spades to mean spades, right? Because we could transfer to spades if we actually had spades. And you'll notice this box comes up relay to 3 no trump. If you are the opponents here and you want to know more, you feel that you're still in the dark about what the explanation means, you can always click this explain. Like, try not to be obnoxious with it because it's going to ping the person that bid 3 spades and they're trying to bid a hand. So be judicious about your use of this, but that's what that explain button means. And it goes pass, or South might double for the lead. And West just bids 3 no trump like their partner asked them to. And a lot of people here would play that 4 clubs by East is a slam try in clubs. Some people would play that it's actually asking for key cards. Some people would play that it's asking for partner to be Q bidding. But either way, this is the way that fancy partnerships might try to explore a 6 club slam. And really, if your partner in English said to you, do you like your hand for a club slam? West, the only negative attribute about West's hand as far as slam goes is the fact that they only have 2 clubs, but they do have ace and 1. That's great. Your 5 quick tricks on the outside this is what we want for slams, is ace, king, queen instead of, king, jack, 10 this and king, jack, 10 that. So if we had this fancy way, we might get to 6 clubs. Going back to the claiming point, and this is what happened at our table. We'll undo a couple of bids here. Let's say you're back in that boat where you haven't played with this person so much and it's match points. You just decide to bid 3 no trump. And it looks pretty normal for North to lead, either a 4th best diamond. The queen of hearts, I think, is actually what I would lead. If you forced me to lead a diamond, I'd lead the jack. But looking back at the results, it looks like people led a diamond the most often. So we'll say that they lead the jack of diamonds because that's the best thing for the defense to do. And when that dummy comes down, when you're west, we're going to talk about both counting tricks and claiming here, because some unfortunate things happened here, actually in 3-no trump. I'm counting my tricks. I have 2 spades, I have 2 hearts, I have 3 diamonds. That's up to 7. And on any sort of reasonable layout of the club suit, I have 6. Like if the club suit breaks 2-2, I have 6. Or if the club suit breaks 3-1 with the singleton king, I have 6 club tricks. Or if the club suit breaks 3-1 and the king is on my left, I have 6 club tricks. All of this leads up to, I've got plenty of tricks. I've got 7 tricks outside the club suit. I've got 6 tricks inside the club suit. That's 13. Unfortunately, I can't get to all 13 without letting them score a club trick first. But I have 12 tricks. And if you've got 12 tricks and you still got to lose a club trick here, we can't go doing things like ducking trick 1. Okay, so that might be right on some hands. And in fact, it's a good instinct like over a lot of hands, but not here. A count of our tricks says we've got 12. We're only giving up 1 to them if the club suit behaves at all. So we can't duck this trick. So we're going to win that, and we're going to set up the club suit immediately. Once the club suit's set up, the ace king of hearts out there provide entries to it. I was glad to see that I couldn't really go wrong here. Just let a club up, and no matter what North plays, right, that's going to be the end of the defense. North is going to get the king of clubs at some point. So I think let's just say they play the king of clubs. At this point, it looks like the only thing that maybe the defense could do is play a spade. That's not going to work either. So at this point, as West, you have your 2 tricks. You have 5 clubs. You have 2 diamonds. You have 2 spades. You have 2 hearts. Now would be an appropriate time to hit the claim button. You're going to claim all of them, 10 more. And as to the question about what do I need to say, you could say something like 2 in the bank plus 2 spades. The way to make a spade symbol is the exclamation point followed by the first letter of the suit. So plus 2 hearts plus 2 diamonds plus 5 clubs equals, and I've run out of room to say something sarcastic here. Anyway, that would be an example of you've explicitly said everything you need to say about the claim. And we would claim, isn't 3 clubs a transfer to clubs? Not sure where that came from. Okay, anyway, that's how we claim. Let me catch up on chat here quickly. All right. Okay, so I hope that shows everybody how you would claim. Got about 12 minutes left, and we got 2 hands to get to. The next hand I want to get to is board 15. So I'm going to go over here. And we're going to export the hand. Okay. Most fun bidding hand of the night, I think. It had the most diversity in the auctions that we're seeing, and I actually explicitly got a couple of questions about it. So I'm going to post up what I would bid here, and I think it's backed up by what a lot of the strong South players did with the hand. And then we'll talk about what each of the bids should mean and how we should logically reason through this. East-West would have to have an awful lot of imagination to come into this, so we're at least going to have the comfort of an unobstructed auction here. I think this is a somewhat reasonable auction. I haven't thought too much about it, but the main point is that South with 6 clubs and 5 spades, the way you want to set this auction up to go is to paint that picture for partner. The way we're going to do it, we're going to open our long suit, right? The 6-card club suit, and then we're going to hit our partner with spades. And then on the 3rd round of the auction, we're going to hit our partner with spades again. So let's think about the picture we've painted. When we've opened a club, again, that's a very amorphous bid. Partner has no idea what's going on with a club, really, other than the fact that we don't have a 1-no opening or a 2-no opening or 2 club opening. They know we have some clubs and some points, but it's pretty wide ranging. North bids a diamond. That is absolutely forcing for 1 round. It's a new suit by responder. South starts the plan by bidding their 2nd suit, spade. So at this point, North knows a little more information, i.e. that South has clubs and spades. North kind of has a close one, but with 12 points and a good 6-card suit and my soft values, reminder that soft values are queens and jacks, I have soft values inside the suit that partner's bidding. So that's upgrades. The queens and jacks are much better in the black suits than they would be, if it were the queen 8-4 of hearts. I hope that makes sense. I already had a borderline game force hand anyway. Some people would say a slam dunk game force hand. Remember that you're kind of adjusting this stuff depending on how frisky your partner is about opening the bidding. Long and short of it is, I'm comfortable forcing the game with this. And I don't know where the train's headed yet. And I want to leave my partner room to keep on bidding his hand. So what North does on the 2nd round of the auction is bids the 4th suit, here 2 hearts, to say, partner, we're going to game. Keep on defining your hand. And South does such. South bids spades again. At this point, North should reason, that's funny. He bid spades the first time. He's bothering to bid them again. That sounds like he has 5. Well, that's weird. He bid clubs first, and we play 5-card majors. I wonder why he did that. He has longer clubs than spades. What he's looking at is 6 clubs and 5 spades. And the rest of the auction can proceed with that. North is, neither side's going to want to pick off 3 no trump here because the heart suit's wide open, and that's entirely predictable here. Like, no one is bidding no trump, and in fact, North knows that South must be short in the red suits. So what keeps on going is natural bidding after the 4th suit forcing, and South bids some clubs again. Yes?
Don't mute him.
Oh. Okay. South bids clubs again, and at this point, North offers to play 4 spades on the 5-2 fit. And it would be a very good spot to get to. If we looked at our double dummy here. Wow, it looks like actually 7. Let's see what happened at the tables. Nope, other tables. 4 spades made 6, I guess was the most common result. And that would have been 78% of the match points. 5 clubs would also make 6 or 7 if they don't lead a heart, I suppose. The long and short of it here, again, is back to the idea about 5 clubs. If you were looking at these 2 hands, and in essence you are, because of the way the auction's progressed, you want to be playing your 5-2 spade fit here, rather than your 6-2 club fit. Okay, so if we're going to play a game contract, let's play 4 spades. If we're going to play a slam contract, let's play 6 clubs. All right. Realize that if you make exactly 4 spades for 620, the club bidders in 5 clubs are going to have to make an over trick just to tie you. Okay, so clubs has to outperform spades by 2 full tricks for it to even tie. And at that point, it's like, we might as well just go ahead and bid the slam if we're going to need 620 to get a reasonable score anyway. Why aren't we trying for all the marbles with the slam? So that's how the bidding would have gone on 15. There's one more to get to. We've got about 5 minutes. Board 19. What was fun about board 19? Oh, okay. Preempts are one of the things we've talked about. Let's talk about what we would open with the south hand. First of all, without getting like mean about it, I'm seeing a lot of people opening this hand 2 hearts. And in my mind, that is just absolutely not the right idea. It's not exerting the maximum pressure on East-West. It's not making their lives hard. You're white and they're red. The name of the game here ought to be rob them of as much bidding space as you can. The south hand is ideal for a preempt. It's got 6 tricks of offense. It's got 0 tricks of defense. It's 7-4-1-1, which is offensively much, much better than say 7-2-2-2. And we're not vulnerable. They're vulnerable. We have 2 opponents who haven't described their hand yet, and only 1 partner. So it's hard to imagine a more favorable situation to preempt than the one that South is presented with here. And honestly, I would open this hand 4 hearts, because that's the point at where if they bid over 4 hearts, I feel like I've done my job. If I open 3 hearts, later on, I'm going to be sad that I didn't open 4. Like if it went 3 hearts, pass, double, I'm going to be like, oh man, I wish I'd have robbed them of 1 more level of bidding. And if you can ever predict that you're going to feel that way later on in the auction, go ahead and do it right away. Okay, so I'd bid 4 hearts here. I guess 3 hearts is the textbook bid. When you've got all these preempting conditions favorable for you, I would always say go 1 more and bid 4. But if you bid 3, nothing wrong with that. What I want to try and steer you away from is bidding 2. 2 is not tricking anyone, and it's not jamming their auction. We can look at this hand and reason it is supremely likely that the opponents are about to play 4 spades. Let's at least give them a hard time of it getting there. So let's stick with this 3 heart idea. Now, I held the West cards. I actually bid 4 spades at this point. Let's talk about what these bids mean. Anytime that they preempt, the opposing side's bids are not preempts. We don't preempt over a preempt. Okay, anything we bid here is a real hand. Like if I bid 3 spades here, that would show a very good hand. I actually thought I had enough to bid 4 spades. And again, jumping, that's even a better hand than if I overcall 3 spades. And I thought the hand was, kind of close. I figured it was worth 4 spades. One of the reasons I figured, well, let's go down this road. I asked Alex what he would bid with this hand, and I think he actually held the hand. And he bid 3 spades with the reasoning that, look, I'm not bidding 3 spades on garbage here. And that's absolutely true. You are red, they're white at match points. Partner ought to appreciate that if you bid 3 spades here, like you are not funning around. Like the actual East hand can go ahead and bid 4. Anyway, I felt like it was 4 spades, which is a little bit better than 3 spades. He felt like it was 3 spades. The general point is when you bid over their preempts, it shows real hands. And let's stick with this 4 spades. I believe this just went pass, pass, pass. They let a heart. We're going to play our 3rd hand highest, but lowest of equivalent cards, which is the 8 here with the 9 in the dummy, or the 10 in the dummy. It's time to count tricks. Barring a 5-0 spade jerk, I have 5 spades, the ace of hearts. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to rough in the dummy this time. I've got 5 diamonds, that's 10, and I'm going to get one of those clubs for 11. And at that point, there's not going to be any squeeze, right? They'll have taken they'll have taken both black aces. So the play proceeds. This is not all that interesting. So at this point, I have the lead, and you can go ahead and claim. And you would just say, you hit the claim button. You would say, pulling trump, conceding ace of clubs. You would shift this number to 9 out of the last 10. You would hit the claim button. Your opponents would see your claim, and each of them is going to have to hit, I accept this claim, for the play to move on. Okay, so by all means, if you don't see it or you think the claim is faulty or you're not comfortable with it, take a minute to look it over. And if you hit, accept or concede or whatever it is, your partner's going to have to do the same thing for the hand to be over. Okay, so don't worry about like one person misclicking and then something happens. In fact, before I've been able to, like there have been times when my opponents misclicked on a card that was obvious, and you can always get the director to adjust that. Okay, you can always say, obviously, she didn't mean to play the whatever here. Could you adjust the score to 4 spades making 4 or 4 spades making 5 or whatever? There was one more comment that I'm remembering from emails today, which was, what do we do when our opponents are playing painstakingly slowly, which is a problem. And I guess my answer would be wait, I don't know, 45 seconds, a minute, whatever it is. Maybe type something in chat like, are you here? Certainly after about that amount of time, it's appropriate to call the director and say, look, you know, such and such is non-responsive. Can we get a sub in here? Because everyone's entitled to, if they're playing at a reasonable pace, to get their 3 boards in 21 minutes. If we do things like claiming, we're going to have more time for, you know, the inevitable somebody drops a connection or somebody isn't paying attention and we waste 45 seconds, and it's no big deal because we've saved time on things like claiming. There's a question in the chat about why wouldn't North bid 5 hearts. That's reasonable for North to bid 5 hearts. And I would guess at this point that East would just double and take the money. Looks like they get a couple of clubs and a diamond and a heart. So 5 hearts actually would be a good score here. So yeah, nothing wrong with bidding 5 hearts. I just wanted to show you claiming again, so I didn't really get into it too much. I guess to play devil's advocate, one reason that North might not bid 5 hearts, not saying it's not necessarily a good idea, they do have 4 trumps. So they've got to be maybe a little bit worried, and especially depending on partners' preempting style. Actually, that's a great lead into that, about whether they're just beating 4 spades, and 5 hearts, you know, would be trading a plus score in for a minus score. Note how much easier it is to bid 5 hearts here if you and your partner follow a style of preempts are all offense and no defense. Okay, if we can count on partner to have that, and again, I'm not necessarily advocating that because there's pluses and minuses to it, but North would be able to look at this hand and say, there's no way in the world we're beating 4 spades if partner isn't producing any defense. Therefore, I should put the maximum pressure back on them by bidding 5 hearts. So yeah, good question. It's 6:33. I think we've hit all our points. Don't overruff when you've got natural trump tricks. More generally speaking, you don't have to win every single trick that they present to you. Squeeze play, for simple squeezes to work, we just need to be counting our tricks and have all the tricks but one. Even if you're not concerned about how the thing works, run your long suit. Get your last trump on the table. We talked about doubling 1 no trump overcalls, that you don't even need an opening hand for that. Just realize that they're in a situation where they're maybe playing 16 or 17 opposite 2 or 3 in the dummy. That doesn't work well for them. We have a red card in our box, and that says, I don't think they're making this. And we talked about counting tricks and how to claim on BBO. So that's what we've got for tonight. A reminder again, Chris has a game at 7 o'clock in 25 minutes. RBC has another game, including a new 0 to 100 game tomorrow night at 7. And then next week, we'll reconvene for Silver Point Week. Sure, it's $1 extra, but cheap at the price. You get 3 times the silver points, Tuesday and Thursday night games. I'll yap at you again on Wednesday about topics that you want to talk about or about things that come up on Tuesday. Thanks, guys, for letting me talk about these hands. Hope you got something you can use in your next game. Good luck at the tables.
Thank you.